Welcome back to another episode of Airgun Shooter. Today I'm going to take a look at using the bluing and rust remover to clean the blued metal parts and trying to polish the metal. 60 years old, and here's the barrel receiver end. It's pretty shiny, but you can see right around the middle there it's got some fine pitting in it. You get a small metal lathe and different grades of emery tape to polish that out. So I'll get that as best I can. Here is the gas tube that goes under the barrel. And again, I got it looking really good, but you can, if you look real close, you can see some pitting. It looks like little, like charcoal colored metallic spots. That's the pitting left when you take the rust out. That is why a blue barrel has got to be oiled frequently. You forget about them, if this is what you're going to wind up with when you go to redo it, you've got to have a small metal lathe and some couple different grades of emery tape that we use for polishing the German crankshafts and stuff in the shop. So while this is turning around the lathe, you put the tape around it, you hold it, and go like this and back and forth, and then you polish all those little pits out there. Let's say a medium grade emery tape, where you use the fine stuff to get you can polish that metal with a mirror and glue that. I'll get this looking pretty good, but not as good as if I had a metal lathe and some emery tape, so it is what it is. I've got the major components here. Stripped and polished as well as possible. And we'll zoom in on that at a different angle here in a second. Used the cleaner degreaser, some Q-tips, and some of these pads to degrease the parts here, particularly the action, the two-part bolt assembly, trigger guard and the trigger guard screws, and dip that in a nice clean pail of water down here. Dry it off with paper towels. Then you use this blue and rust remover. Boy, did that work well. You've got to leave it on there for at least 2 minutes. Once you've got all the bluing and rust and all this stuff off, I took the fine steel wool and 320 grit wetback sandpaper and polished the parts. When you first use the bluing and rust remover, get all that off there, rinse it off and dry it, you'll see a little this yellowish golden brown chemical rust on there. And once you take the 320 grit extra fine sandpaper and the fine steel wool, and you're sanding and buffing and cleaning it down to nice shiny metal, all that'll come right off, so don't worry about that. So we'll polish these metal parts up a little bit more tomorrow when it's a little sunnier, and then we'll start on the bluing. One of the guys on YouTube said that this stuff it'll stink up the whole house, better to do it outside. Well, I got the room vented, and it's not bad. This blue and rust remover smells like a chemical soaked baby diaper of all bloody things. Real funky smell, but it's not that bad. Just well ventilated room, folks, okay? And rubber gloves. We gotta get some more rubber gloves. That's my last pair, and they're starting to tear. Tore the thumb right there, done it. Okay, that's it for this step, and we'll come back and finish polishing the metal and then more cleaner degreaser and all of that, and then might even use rubbing alcohol just to clean it off real good. That works good too. So far, over the last 2 days, I've used the blue and rust remover to they give you a couple of these little wire handled oh, it's like a little round poofy thing, sort of like a shotgun barrel swab. They give you 3 of those to use with the chemicals and the bluing and all that. Works real good with this bluing and rust remover, which, by the way, you better wear gloves. This stuff I even rinse off the bottle because it contains phosphoric acid, oxalic acid, and sulfuric acid. We used to use dilute oxalic acid to clean the foundry fallout off our cars at Ford years ago, but it also eats up plastic, and since there's more plastic on the cars, well, couldn't really use it anymore. But this stuff works real well to get the old rust and bluing off the parts using that swab and some fine steel wool. That's 320 grit wetback sandpaper there. I also use those to dry to polish the metal after I've dipped it in water, dried it off, ran some patches through the barrel, and these cotton cosmetic pads through the inside of this tube here. Gotta get it all cleaned out inside. It's got, so you can see there's some, I don't know if you can see that. There's some pitting in the metal. That's been polished about as good as I can get it. Some places are a bit worse than others, but that's, I thought one of those little metal lathes and some emery tape. There ain't a whole lot I can do about that. All in all, though, it looks pretty good. Here's the barrel. Here's the receiver end that goes in here, this end here of the receiver. And you can see the 2 screw holes for the rear sight, for the front sight. Right around the middle, right here, it's pitted pretty bad. I polished it down as good as I could, and I'll grind and polish these metal parts maybe one more time before I blue them, since I gotta get another pack of rubber gloves for handling all these noxious chemicals. You don't make it. You ventilate the room real good. You don't have to go outside. The bluing and rust remover smells amazingly enough like a chemical soaked baby diaper for some odd reason. It's got a funk of its own. Seriously. But that's for a 60-year-old gun. That barrel's looking pretty good, all things considered. And as I said, here is the receiver. Now that looked better yesterday. It's been sitting. I don't know. I need to hit that one again. This must have left some of the bluing and rust remover on the table. It makes little drips that look like that. But we also, as you can see, hopefully, we preserved all the factory stamped logos and lettering and such, including the number around here. It's not a, well, it's kind of a serial number, but being pre-1975, it doesn't denote build date. It's 101710. I even wondered if it meant October 17th and this was the 10th one built. That's got to be code for something, right? You think about that kind of stuff after a while. And this is where that hole right here, there's supposed to be a lock washer that goes under that screw there. And I didn't get one and don't have one. This is the part here that sits against the tube on the top of that part over there. You'll see when I go to put it all together, but I just got to glue it all up first. maybe get some bluing on the inside again before I stick the barrel back in. I've got that cleaned out in there about as good as I can. But as I say, you can still see the stamped logos and all that, which I felt was important to authenticity. It'll look real nice, so they'll know somebody redid it, but it'll have some character marks, so it might look like it was done a really long time ago. You know, I could show it to them when I get it finished, and it will have been just completed the day before, right? It's the wood and metal worker's art. Make it look nice, but also make it look like it's not exactly new either. People spend a lot of money, and guys that make furniture spend a lot of time with chains and shotguns and birdshot and all that stuff, making brand new furniture look really old and full of wormholes and such as that. That's what say a 20 gauge and birdshot's for. Looks pretty good though. And the two-piece bolt assembly is about as clean as it's going to get. So we'll have to finish stripping and polishing the rest of the little knurled hold down nuts and sights and little bits and pieces like that before we can stop and blue everything all at once, because it needs to be rinsed and blued until you get it dark enough in layers, and then we can put the gun back together. And then we'll finally get to the shooting part. I still can't find an airgun range around here anywhere. They just don't do it around here. And the regular rifle run ranges, the state runs, you have to shoot at least 100 yards for a 22 on up. The firearm is easy. The Winchester can reach out 100 yards, but it's not sighted in yet. I tried all these different pellets here to see which one it likes and all that sort of thing. We got a lot left to do yet, which we will do when we get this gun done. The scope of the Winchester. Oh. This 3 to 9 by 32 scope is going on the Crosman. I put the trigger back in with this little pin right there. Little pin that pounds through the stock right there. You can see in there it rocks back and forth like I told you earlier. And the stock is all finished. Look at that. And I got the slings with the studs in there. Got those back in. Especially since it's Sunday, we'll see